What is up YouTube, and today we're going to be talking about the reworked ELVIRA and how you guys should be building her, and also showcase her in PvP for you guys. Now she got changed in the recent patch. As you guys can see, she's available for recall, but hold your horses, you probably don't want to recall her because she's a pretty strong unit. So what got changed is her S3. It can't be actually affected by cooldown increases or decreases, so Prophetic Candlestick doesn't work on her anymore to actually cycle this permanent immortality. But also her cooldowns can't get reset by like Faithless Lytica, Lua, Nogwell, which is actually like a buff and a nerf. We also have our S2 that kind of got changed here. Basically what got changed is that you don't need immortality to decrease the amount of fighting spirit gained. It's basically like a Bellion passive, and as we know with Bellion, who recently got an amazing skin by the way, if you guys didn't get it you missed out. But this passive is one of the most strongest in the game. No matter what happens to her kit, no matter what units are released, this unit will always be good because she reduces souls gained. And the same can be said for ELVIRA here, because she shuts down a key mechanic of the game in the current meta, which is Fighting Spirit. We have units like Lone Crescent Bellona, Lionheart CERMIA, Navy Captain LANDY, who all use Fighting Spirit, and they're all very powerful, but ELVIRA counters all of them now, so it's a very good passive to have. Honestly, not as game-breaking as Soul Generation, but still very good to counter the current meta in the units. So yeah, she's a pretty good unit. I don't really think you should recall her. Now if you guys do want to recall her, I'll make a tier list for what you guys should be going for. But personally, I think she's too strong in the current meta to recall for now. And for her build, pretty simple now. So because you can't actually cycle this immortality anymore, her build has actually changed a bit. So what you actually want to do is you don't want counter, you want speed set, because most of your damage will come from your S2. And your S2 will do a ton of damage if it lands because of Beguile. Also, you want to cycle your S3 at least 2 times in a fight because this does a ton of damage on higher health targets. This actually does more damage to higher health targets. So at the start of battle, if you use this, it does a ton of damage, like 5k, 6k damage on the opener with no damage investment, which is crazy. And then you want either effect resist set or effectiveness set. And that is because for the stats here, you want to aim for at least 100% effectiveness. And I say that because you want this Beguile to land on 100% ER Knights, because usually Knights here are going to be run at 100% effect resist. So if we look at like my crowd here, and I'm not saying my builds are the best, you'll see he's around 100% effect resist. Arrowell here also at 100%, and these are pretty standard builds, and because of that you want 100% effectiveness to ignore this, because if you look at Beguile here, this damage scales with the target's max HP to their entire team. So if you land this on a very high health target, this will do a ton of damage. So that's why you want to land this on Knights, primarily on Soul Weavers. It's a little harder because they have a lot more effect resist. So you want 100% effectiveness. The rest of your stats can go into speed and then effect resist to stop your immortality from getting stripped. You also want a health percent necklace main stat so you don't actually die once your immortality falls off. And having some defense is a plus but not needed. I think she doesn't need to be super fast, but just having at least 200 speed is good. You don't need her increasingly fast anymore because of the fact that her fighting spirit gain, or like I guess preventing fighting spirit gained, is just a passive now instead of needing immortality. So in the past you needed to get your S3 up first, but now since it's just the passive, you don't really need to be too fast. For artifact here, I have her on Bastion of Hope. Pretty good because this will give her more effect resist. Obviously another good option could be like her own for RTA to remove souls. Another good option could be something like Warhorn here to actually give your team more attack and some combat ready pushing. It's really up to you, but I've been finding more success on Bastion of Hope. Now let's actually test her out in PvP, and you guys can see how she actually will do. And here we go guys, this is the battle here. We do take the first turn with ELVIRA, which is always nice. What I'm actually going to do here is probably just S3 the Navy Captain LANDY, do some decent damage. And you're going to see this hits pretty hard with her having no damage investment here. 5k, pretty respectable. S3 is going to come in here. And the enemy side, right, they have 2 Fighting Spirit carries. And a lot of defenses will have just 1 Fighting Spirit unit being their sole carry with 3 supports. And if you just bring ELVIRA in auto, you will most likely just win. As you guys can see here, if I just auto here, it's going to pretty much end up in me just winning because the enemy right side doesn't have a win condition, right? And they don't have enough sustain. Now if they had like a Rowana to deal with my Lone Crescent Bellona, what I would actually do is bring a different unit. But you're going to see here, slowly, my team will actually whittle them down. Even though Lionheart CERMIA procs are S2, and Navy Captain LANDY is countering, they're not actually getting any fighting spirit, which means their win condition cannot activate here. And we go into Navy Captain Landy with Bellona's S3. This should deal a pretty decent amount of damage. English is hard. And yes, this is why we all hate this meta and why Elvira came out. Constant counterattacks. And this is the blood mana. I have effectiveness, so this should land on some units here. It does even land on their tank. You're gonna see it's gonna do pretty decent damage on their Ocean Breeze Luca and Lionheart CERMIA because last Rider Crowd's on high health, right? So this should deal a decent amount of damage when it becomes his turn. Ooh, provoked as well. And this should do a nice chunk. Okay. 1k 900, not bad. But you can see, even though Lionheart CERMIA constantly procs her S2, Navy Captain Landy constantly procs her S1 from countering, the Fighting Spirit doesn't go up at all. And that is the biggest way that these quote-unquote meta-dominant units kind of have to win. They need to actually gain their Fighting Spirit. And because of that, Elvira becomes such a good unit into the meta currently because of how powerful she can be. And I think this is how they wanted her to be played. I'm kind of glad that they reworked her in this way because you can actually use her into a ton of team comp and she's very, very fun. And as you can see, very easy auto game. She is a very powerful PvP unit, especially for arena offense and guild wars offense. Now we have brought her into another Fighting Spirit team. As you guys can see, instead of Navy Captain Landy, we have Abyssal YUFINE, who's also a very powerful, very annoying unit to deal with. Pretty broken, honestly, so you're going to see how she does against her as well, especially after her rework. You're going to see that she can deal with these units pretty easily. And she also has Unhealable, keep that in mind. So it's very nice in actually stopping these units from healing. Now, of course, they do have Destina to cleanse it off, but you can get a lot of these S3s off in these fights here. Defense break is super strong as well.
Don't ever ignore the power of someone with something to protect. You wanna see? Let's start with something light.
SSB is gonna bat back here. And of course, because we have Elvira, that Fighting Spirit cannot be gained. And let me just auto this. Should be pretty simple. After turn SSB skills on, of course. Now, of course, since you're autoing arena, the fights aren't going to be super quick. But what you're looking for in a good arena team is just something that can auto consistently, right? And in this current meta, she seems to be pretty decent, I'd say. My SSB is pretty tanky, so this might take a little longer. But hopefully this lands on almost everyone here. It does land on 2. We got 15%ed by this YUFINE. But this is gonna do, this Beguile is gonna do a ton of damage. Now, unfortunately, I can't stop LHC from cleansing herself, but it should be fine. Another counterattack, no Fighting Spirit gained, of course, and then we're batting back.
I don't really enjoy this. Beast of the West.
And this Destina is going to make this fight last a little longer than I would like, but it should be okay. Considering you have Seaside Bellona on the left here, she's just going to ramp up. Not ramp up like ML Bellona, but you know what I mean. Just do a ton of AoE damage. And you can see we're pretty much already dealing with the Abyssal YUFINE here. If I didn't have Elvira, she would have had her S3 up for sure. And to be honest, Lionheart CERMIA probably would have wiped my team by now. And boom, ton of damage. And these defenses that used to terrorize the meta, now you can see they are just toppling over like dominoes. There's not really an answer to this besides the switcher defense, which is kind of funny. But I'm definitely glad that this has definitely shaked up the meta because I'm kind of sick and tired of these stall heavy teams, you know, with high RNG.
Put you to sleep.
Defense break, very nice. And I don't think that Destina has her S3 up, so she'll S2, and I should most likely kill her soon. Unless she S3s again. which then you'll have to watch this for another minute. But
Now.
hopefully it's a dual attack from SSB. Nope. She does not have S3, so fortunately for you guys, this should be a dead Destina because my Crow was critting on every auto. And I do land the provoke. 100% effectiveness, by the way. And there we go. So you can see she's a pretty good unit, I'd say, and very good for PvP now. Yeah, that's Elvira, guys. Pretty cool unit, very fun. Definitely should use her in Builder. She's super strong in the current meta, and I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And I'll see you guys next time.